Hello folks, most of my 18650 cells I got from e-bike batteries. Here I have two examples, one 15-16 ampere hours. The other one is slightly less powerful, it's 14 ampere hours. Most of the do-it-yourselfers work in their kitchen, and me too. First see if there is still some power, some juice. No, this seems to be completely dead. Needless to say that these things are powerful. There's a lot of energy in them, even if they sometimes are empty. It can be dangerous. If you short these things, they can explode, they can burn. So if you touch these things, it's all on your own risk. I take my risk and I'm not responsible for anybody else. Something about the tools that I use. These I use the most. Powerful knippers to remove the spot welded metal. Of course some gloves, otherwise you cut yourself and it makes a bloody mess. And something interesting, I use these as safety devices. I got them from another e-bike battery, which they were used as separators, and I found them handy for avoiding sparks and shorts. I will show you later on. Voila, let's do it. Let's start with this one. Of course we have to cut the seals. Okay, here's another seal, otherwise it won't open, and another seal. Voila. Now we can take the last screws. Oh, I already removed them. There are 4 screws, 2 here and 2 here, so I already removed them. And we only have to take a bigger screwdriver and open the clips. Let's do that. And let's no longer wait. Okay, they easily separate. Apart from the screws, this doesn't seem a very difficult pack to open. And okay, it doesn't look all that bad. As far as I can see, the cells are not, yes, they're not poured in silicone. That's a good thing. I don't always have or only have the best cells I can get. So if I have a pack and I measure the cells and I find out they are less than 2.5 volt, then I don't use this pack. They must be between 2.5, they must have minimum 2.5 volt. If they don't have any more 2.5 volt, well then I give them away, or sometimes I use them for other smaller applications which are not so critical as a Powerwall. Let's remove the plastic all around. This morning it should have been spring, and see what outside. Snow. Fortunately it's very cozy inside. Let's go on to this. Oh, I'll show you another thing. my fight against that corona flu thing, which I don't believe in it. It's a real hoax. The first thing I always do is get my workspace tidy up, not for reasons that it must be tidy, but all the not essential metal parts and metal things out of the way, because I don't want to have an explosion, or I don't want to have trouble. It's just a safety measure. Everything which is not needed out of the way. Especially these screws that I gathered here. All the screws, far away with them, because they can create a short. And then safety glasses to put on, because what can happen, not so much with packs which are still factory original, but with packs which were repaired or given to a repair shop, sometimes the strips, the metal strips, are thicker. And if you tear them, then sometimes you can tear the casing of the cell itself, and then the liquid expands, gets out of it. It doesn't spread very far, but if you value your eyesight, then safety glasses. As I said, gloves, because that's very sharp. Then the most important tool that I needed, and then my safety devices. I will tell you about this later on. What do I need? A smaller thing and a small screwdriver. All the rest of the things I leave out of my way. So let's start. First we get rid of the BMS. The BMS is connected to the battery by these welded on studs. So first let's cut them all, put them out of the way. One advice, sometimes you're tempted to cut all the cables in one go. Don't do that. I did that the very first time when I opened the battery pack, and I had this whole bunch of small wires from the BMS, so I said, "Check!" Well, firework, immediately firework, because they short together, and don't do that. If you have to cut them individual, one by one. Here I don't have to cut. And be careful if you unscrew. Don't unscrew it all the way. You have the risk that the small screw falls into your battery and makes you short. So keep your fingers close so you can catch it immediately. And as I said before, all metal parts immediately far away. That's one. Take a little piece to isolate the bare cable. This is metal far away, a little piece of plastic. Now we get the BMS completely out of here with all the dangling cables. Okay. Well, now that the BMS is out of the way, we can start tearing off the metal. Now here comes in handy my safety devices, these things. I'll show you something. You see this? Maybe you don't see it so good, but it's the wrap which is damaged, and it's very close to the positive of the cell. So that was in my very early days when I teared apart e-bike batteries. It's a very, very, very dangerous thing, because if you have an eBay battery which is, let's say, fully loaded, sometimes it happens that you get a battery which is almost, every cell has almost 4 volts. So it's full. It's a bomb of energy. And if you make connection between the mantle, the metal mantle, and the positive, then you get a short. And if your cell is full, there's an enormous amount of energy. So this is frightening. This gives you a spark, and if you are not quick enough to remove the short, then it can heat up very rapidly the cell, and it can lead to an explosion and even to your house that is burned down. So in all of this my videos I documented during the time that I am working with this, which safety measures I accumulated. And these things are one of them. What I do, for instance, when I tear apart, I always put them in between the cells and the metal strip which I take apart. And this prevents 2 things. First, that my edge of my pliers don't come in contact with another cell, which here there's no problem, they're all negative. But sometimes positive and negative are close to each other, and then when you make contact, you get things like this. That's the one thing. And second thing, you sometimes have a big piece of metal like this, and if you don't have something in between, you can also make a short out. So this is the thing I repeat. Always get metal parts out of the way, put on safety glasses, use some isolator, and then with your pliers you can go ahead. So now I slowly here I have previous But be careful, be careful, be careful. That's always, I tell myself, be careful. Better safe than sorry. Also be careful. Sometimes little pieces of tin are still laying on your table, so regularly shove them out of the way. Okay, so one side is done. I leave the small bits still on it. I later on individually, cell by cell, I remove them. Now let's do the other side. Same thing. Always take precautions. Don't make something not safe. Put on your safety glasses. Put some kind of isolator. Don't use too big of elements. Cut them off because they can go over to the other side. Be utmost careful. Okay, folks, we have now removed the metal and we can split the two halves from each other. Voila. Here we have the individual cells, and now comes the moment of truth. Let's see there is not too much cells damaged. I put it on 20 volt, take out a cell, and let's see what juice we still have in an individual cell. 364, 63, 64. That's splendid. These are the kind of cells that I want. If they are individually gone under 2.5, then I give them away for other applications. Let me see another cell, because sometimes cells are bad. 363. Good cells. Well, folks, we have come to the end of this video. I am cleaning up rough the individual cells. Why rough? Well, I don't clean up the last sharp little bits, which maybe you can see here, that I do with a Dremel, but I clean them off enough so they can fit in the charger, because the next episode I will show you how I charge up the cells, the individual cells, so I can test them and distinguish the bad ones from the good ones, weed out the bad ones and keeping only the perfect cells. If you are, hope we see each other in the next video which I will make, and for now I thank you for watching, and bye for now.